The government of the Virgin Islands is maintaining relatively low levels of debt, with total public borrowing at 16.2% of GDP in 2013. The BVI's debt servicing costs have been reduced. Principal repayments and interest payments on central government debt amounted to $15.8 million in 2013, down from $17.1 million in 2012. That figure is projected to fall even further to $15.1 million at the end of 2014. Meanwhile, addressing the fiscal strategy, the Premier says the past decade has seen expenditures growing at a much faster rate than revenues, noting that the gap between revenue and expenditure in the BVI has been closing. Premier Smith says government will pursue a fiscal strategy pointing to a new work permit structure, increased water rates, a tourist levy in 2016, and aggressive steps to collect taxes.
We are now at a point where action must be taken in order to provide for the continued financial sustainability of the government of the Virgin Islands and its ability to provide for the people of this territory. Pursuant to this, we have been very carefully designing a fiscal strategy that should enable us to do this without placing a further burden on the taxpayers of this country. First is the augmentation of our current revenue streams. To do this, we have decided to 1. Change the current work permit structure such that fees will be based on occupation type, with consideration given to average income by occupation type. Change water rates to more closely align with increased costs of purchasing and providing water. Introduce a tourist arrival levy in 2016. Reverse the charging of import duties on FOB rather than CIF values. Adopt a more aggressive approach to the collection of current taxes and fees and arrears by reviewing current legislation to give revenue collecting agencies greater authority to enforce compliance, and conduct an ongoing comprehensive review of government's tax and fee structures with a view to closing loopholes, ensuring that fees at least cover the cost of providing services, and fostering the overall coherence of government taxes and fees to advance transparency and fairness. But speaking in addition to this, we are also placing downward pressure on all expenditures, mandating that departments and ministries are much more careful in how and what they spend money on, in addition to identifying savings of 5% or more in their year-to-year budgets over the 3-year budget cycle.
Premier Smith says his administration has managed the affairs of the territory well, particularly in the face of the global economic downturn, which threatened the BVI economy.